Hello, everyone. Today, with the Gauntlet, we are playing this game, Be Seeing You, by Tanya Floker. It was released a couple of years ago on Kickstarter and is available on itch. Links below. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm facilitating the game, although it's a GMless game. So we have yet to create a character at all. This is basically The Prisoner, the TV show from the 60s with the numbers filed off. If that isn't a terrible metaphor for this for this game. A role-playing game about independence, control, freedom, and compliance. So we're going to follow the visit or the stay of this prisoner in a village, a kind of a dystopian, paranoia-riddled village, who knows where. So yeah, let's get our other players to introduce themselves in character keeper order, and then we'll jump into play.
Okay. Hey, my name is Mario. Use they them pronouns, and I'm gonna start with playing the prisoner tonight.
And my name is Dan. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm super excited for this game. I've been a longtime fan of The Prisoner, and have always been curious about whether it could be gamified. So this is super exciting for me. I was obsessed with The Prisoner when I was a kid. Watched the episodes multiple times, got books, all the rest of it. And I will be starting out as the administrator, known on the TV series as Number 2.
You have your badge already. Yeah, and I will be, first of all, when we get into the episodes, I'll be playing the villagers, the residents, and the village itself. But at the very start of play, we're going to create the prisoner themselves. So if we flip to the episodes tab on the character keeper, we have a section called the Chimes of Big Ben, and we have a list of questions in order. Mario, the first question is for you. So the question is, what style or look do you want to perfect? And then you, with that piece of information, you describe a vignette, a short scene, as the prisoner dramatically bursts into the office, where a middle-aged white cis man in a suit sits behind a desk.
Okay, so I guess we just got this shot from a street where a car is like speeding down the street, right? And then it comes to a grinding halt, and we see somebody in a like I guess a t-shirt and some sport shorts getting out of the car, but we don't see the face yet. And we see that person hurrying to the building. Maybe we have a shot where like I don't know, it's like some sport equipment is laying in the backseat of the car, and then we see like an office door, and like first you see the person like making a move to knock, but in the last second they decide otherwise and like just open the door and run into the office. I don't really describe anything about the scene for the right, just a look for now.
Yeah. So I think that vignette is perfect, and then maybe just detail with a liner. So the style or look you want to perfect.
Okay. Is sporty an actual?
Sporty is a valid look.
Okay. So I'd say a sporty person trying to show off early retirement.
Yeah, living the dream.
Uh,
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Mario. Dan, this second question is for you. The question is, what trait always gets you into trouble? And if you can frame a vignette to use to describe how the same personality trait in Prisoner riles the man sat behind the desk.
The you in this sentence refers to the prisoner, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe unlike the TV show, the trait is that he has a very smart mouth, and sometimes his mouth works faster than his brain does. So he sort of will say these unfiltered things, little snide marks, little insults, things that really kind of target a person's insecurities, if you guys are okay with that. So he's I don't know that we've himmed this the prisoner yet, but the prisoner is someone who's got a really smart mouth and sometimes doesn't always filter it.
Oh, so my brain has caught up with my mouth, ironically, on that. So when we answer these questions, it may be it is true of the prisoner, but it's when we answer it, it's for ourselves, but it's like we are putting it onto the prisoner. So I guess I think we can keep our answers, but I think we're kind of imposing a little bit of ourselves personally onto the prisoner in this
Okay.
part of the game.
Oh, I see. So the you should have been Dan.
Yes, and then
and we're projecting
we
me
impart
onto
that.
the.
We project onto the prisoner.
Oh, I mean, this is sort of true.
Okay.
Some people in my house would say this is true. So.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, question number 3 is for me. Which part of yourself would you never give up, no matter what? I use this to describe why this was threatened and leads the prisoner to slam a resignation letter onto the desk. I think this is the prisoner refuses to kind of editorialize the answer to a problem to be what their superiors want the answer to be, so they I guess this is their integrity, or yeah, I think integrity is the best word to describe this, in terms of like them wanting to say the truth no matter how much it annoys the people above them. And I think this was threatened because their boss, the prisoner's boss, was basically going to, create a report purporting to be the prisoner's opinion and just rubber stamp their signature or whatever on it. And this resignation is the thing that will prevent that from having any effect. That makes sense.
So the next prompt would be, and that's my turn again. What does your ideal home look like? Use this to describe the prisoner going back to this home and what they are doing to take their life in a new direction. I'd say that would be like something spacious, maybe like a spacious condo with a little rooftop garden. Yeah.
Do you think there's some like detail, vignette that shows um, like how their kind of plans for retirement are taking shape, when they arrive back at that home, or
Um. Oh. Okay. So I see. The rooftop formerly has been just like an ordinary rooftop where you only saw the aircon units up there, right? Um. And now you see like a bunch of like still wrapped in plastic chairs and tables and gardening equipment, and it's like not really unpacked yet, but it gets checked on um, like frequently. And so like we see the prisoner being up on the roof and just like um, having a look like around the neighborhood from up there, like probably like checking out a tree or so for like birds, and then like just sitting into one of the still plastic wrapped chairs just to see if they are actually comfy, but not yet unpacking them.
okay. And our last question for this is for you, Dan. What do you hate most about authority figures? And describe how this is embodied in an odd-looking agent of the village who goes on to cause the prisoner to fall unconscious in their home.
I personally hate how authority figures can be utterly disinterested in the world around them, and that they can sort of demonstrate selfishness and detachment from the world. And what I'm imagining is maybe the prisoner sort of ordered some takeout food to sustain them on the trip, and this food, we see the delivery person show up and hand the food over, and by eating the food, the prisoner goes unconscious. And as the camera pulls back, we see the actual delivery person sort of unconscious, maybe even dead, as the fake delivery person was from this kind of authority that wanted the prisoner unconscious. So this sort of um, utter disregard and detachment from the wider world.
Okay, awesome. So now, with that section finished, there's a space for an image of the prisoner at the top of that section. Mario, if you do want to, or if anyone has a good idea for an image. So we move on to the free for all, which is divided into three sections: welcome, tour of duty, and home at last. So in welcome, I'm going to create the location of the prisoner's home using the aesthetic that Mario had already described, although it's moved now, strangely enough, to the village. I am looking for an image, but yeah, I think we see this, very, I guess, modern condominium apartment, but now it's like on this ground floor. It's surrounded by a garden. It looks a little bit odd, out of place, and yet seamlessly integrated with this kind of circular garden that matches the footprint of this place. Mario, you should narrate waking up from your forced slumber, finding yourselves in your home, and the reaction you have when you look out of the window and see the village for the first time.
Okay, sorry, where is that in the character keeper? You said at the free for all, but I only see.
Yeah, so there's this is there's no extra description of this part of the scene on the character keeper, but yeah, you're just describing waking up and seeing the
Okay.
village for the first time.
Okay, so I'm gonna steal this a little bit, and I think the administration just wants to make a point. So I'm waking up on the dinner table, and it's very bright outside, so that it's a little bit too bright for the prisoner on first sight, and therefore they squint a little bit and they are disoriented, and it takes a fair bit until they properly sit up, and then are taking a few steps with wobbly feet towards the window, and immediately open the window because they feel the need for fresh air, and then looking around the neighborhood, which is, it's supposed to be similar to their usual environment, right?
Well, I think the actual kind of condominium, your home itself is identical, but it's been
Okay.
Transported to this place that is definitely not where you usually live, right? And maybe with other similar living areas around it, but that is maybe for us to describe.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that all the trees we saw in the opening scene, where the prisoner tried to spot birds, are now giant Greek-looking statues.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, I think you see. So I'm going to describe as the village and the residents. There's a couple of people outside, and they are polishing some of these Grecian statues. Maybe um, maybe it's regular, maybe it's last minute for your arrival. Who can tell? Um, but they seem to be going about their business without really looking over to your home. And lastly, for the welcome, there's a knock on the door from the administrator. Dan, you got a section to describe your administrator in section 0 of Free for All. You give them a look and a demeanor, and there's a space for your image as well. So you should narrate your character in this whole segment of play, explain to the prisoner that they now live in the village, avoid any specifics, the reason, and explain what you want from the prisoner. So this is basically a free roleplay scene for the for the 2E.
Sorry, you're muted.
There we go. I put a picture in for the administrator. She's polished and well dressed and very sophisticated. and she's got sort of she's outgoing and very friendly, overly friendly. And I would say she's maybe got a couple folks with her as well, and she approaches and she knocks on the door but enters without waiting for you to say anything. And she comes in and she says, our newest resident, we are so happy that you are here, that you are joining us in our little community.
How did I end up here?
The same way everyone else did.
By kidnapping?
It was established that it was time for you to join us here at the community, and so you have been made a member of our community. We are so happy. Aren't we so happy that you are here? We're so happy.
A happy little community that does not care about any of our land's laws, right?
You'll find a copy of our laws at the local library if you are interested in understanding sort of the rules and guidance that we have in place. But generally speaking, all of our residents are extremely happy and very accommodating of each other's needs.
That might very well be, but since you're law-abiding citizens, I would withdraw from the contract immediately, please. And I would like to be moved back home, where I actually belong.
We will look into that immediately. She snaps. One of her people goes off, and we try to accommodate every request from our residents, especially new ones. If there's anything else I can do to make your stay more comfortable, do not hesitate to leave a message for me at the administrator's building. Donna, is there any reason she's going to stick around?
Oh, you are, sorry, I forgot to mention this. You are to give the prisoner a tour of the village.
Yeah, it's, you know what? Before you make any snap judgments about whether you want to stay or go, let me show you around, show you some of the amenities that we have here at our lovely resort village. I'm confident that you will find all of your needs met if you will follow me.
Okay, I just won't say anything and just like follow along for a bit, since it's the only thing that seems right to do.
Okay, perfect. So at this point, we move on to the first stop on the tour. This means we're gonna rotate roles. So I will be the prisoner. Mario, you're going to be the village and the residents, which means that when we get to a place, you're going to detail a location along with its aesthetic, overt purpose, and something uncanny about it, and also a resident with their kind of role in the village, their look and demeanor as well. Oh, wait a minute, that can't be true because Dan can't be. He's just been. No, maybe he is the admin again for this one. Maybe that doesn't make much sense.
I'm happy to do it. I was just getting into it.
Okay, sure. We'll stick with that. All the roles are like equal. Just that maybe I've made a mistake on how they rotate. Because obviously, rotating in a physical space is much easier than
right.
Okay, so yeah, I'll play the prisoner. Dan, you play the admin, and then Mario, you're going to be the village of the residents. So the person with the village role creates a new location. So why don't you, Mario, tell us where we're going to end up on this tour on our first stop.
Oh, of course. The tour starts with the town hall slash community building. And it's obviously like some high profile design piece of building. It looks very modern, very sleek. One could say a little bit hostile for a community building. But what is actually strange or uncanny about it is that it's like once we do the tour of the ground floor, there is a hyper specific history of this young town, where with details you don't want to see publicly available.
So I think I say, does that go in the 3 slot or in the 1 slot?
This is the 1 slot. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
No worries. So I say to the prisoner, most tours end with the most favorite spot, but I start this tour with the spot that is most meaningful to me, most important to me. This is the heart and soul of our village. This is the community space. Whenever we need to have a big meeting, get all the residents together, whenever we have a big important event, it happens here at the community space. And I really want you to take in what I mean when I say community. Community, we're really part of one, that picture is perfect. We're really part of one big family here. We all have a part to play, and we all take each other's needs very seriously. Don't you just love this building?
The concrete, the glass, the absolute necessity of maintaining control over all of your residents.
The control is for the safety and the enjoyment of the residents. What we have found is that we let control become too dispersed, too uneven. People become divided, and they are not able to enjoy the other freedoms that we afford. But you will learn that soon enough.
And the prisoner walks past one of these. Maybe it's like tempered glass, and it has this writing on it, which are these kind of hyper specific details, and it's like 17 burst into uncontrollable tears for 23 minutes. I shudder to think the kind of control this community desires, that such details would be public.
We believe in full transparency, and it is extremely important that everyone have a thorough understanding of consequences.
So Mario, this is also an opportunity for you to introduce one supporting character at this location, along with their kind of look and demeanor, and maybe their role in the community.
Oh, okay, I see. So, we're gonna see Eleanor Rosenbaum, and she actually is the architect of this building, and she volunteers to be part of the welcome committee every time. And she says, yes, indeed. As you can see, with like the glass and everything, we're here to provide to welcome everybody into this dialogue that is what we envision this community to be. So we're all in this together. And of course, there needs to be some sort of privacy, but we don't want to be totalitarian about the privacy. Yeah, we still want to be in touch with each other. That's why we very much want this community to be represented by glass. It's such a powerful material, you see.
Very, very well said.
So along, and this is something from the TV show, but also in the book, everyone in the village is known by a number.
Okay.
I'm not sure we ever hear anyone's name.
Okay, sorry. Then it's number 5.
Okay, cool.
Number 5, you have expressed the ideals of our community so perfectly. You are absolutely right. Individualism is its own form of authoritarianism. And I could not agree with you more. And your vision in this building exemplifies our need for togetherness just perfectly.
And the prisoner obviously wants to call her by a name, but is refusing to say number 5. So there's like a awkward pause as he kind of ignores that aspect. When did you build this panopticon for our community?
Well, this fine piece of a concrete and glass handshake has been completed only 3 years ago. And we won several awards, of course.
Oh, yes. Every year, the village hosts an architectural achievement award, as well as engineering award, as well as glassworks award. And if I'm not mistaken, number 5, in that year, you won all 3 of those awards.
Oh, please. This was not a singularity accomplishment.
Of course not.
Of course, the prizes go to all of the community.
Really, yes. The whole village wins these prizes. Yes.
Was there publication of these awards in Police State Quarterly, perhaps? Or
It's funny you mentioned print. I think that's the next stop on our tour, where the community has its own newspaper, and of course, the awards are listed in the newspaper. It's a daily, by the way. In fact, it's printed twice a day. I bet you didn't think a little community such as ours would have such a need for a twice daily paper, but there's a lot more that happens than you would imagine.
You've moved on to a different opiate of the masses, I see here. Okay, I think that's a good place to cut
great.
that. Stop on the tour. Okay, cool, awesome. So, according to this, Mario, you're back as the prisoner in stage 2 of our tour. Dan, you're the village and the residents, and I am playing the admin. So Dan, why don't you tell us where is next on our tour?
I think the library is next. And it's sort of an interesting contrast with the town hall, in that it's kind of got almost a cottage-esque. It's a 2-story with like an A-frame type house. And although its overt purpose is to provide reading material, it's very, very strictly controlled. So the things that you might want to get there are not there. And something uncanny about it. I really liked, Mario, what you said about the town hall. I guess one idea that I have is that when you go in, there are no books apparent, and you have to ask for what you want.
So is it like the entirety of the building is like the reception, and there isn't even any sign that there's space for the books
I think
behind?
there's empty shelves. It's just like rows and rows of empty shelves. And the only thing that you can take is like the newspaper, but everything else you have to go to the librarian to ask. And she will, and he, I think, will be our resident.
So yeah, the admin. I think it's like cottage core kind of country library town
Yeah.
hall. So the resident opens the door for the prisoner and beckons you inside, and there's a little bell maybe as the door opens. Number 72 here is our librarian for the community, and I am just so proud of what we built here. Everything that a member of this community could need um, to consult in terms of information, uh, books, anything that's not in the newspaper is could be found here. Um, and I, for one, find myself here constantly if my duties didn't prevent me from being here. Um, so yes, number 71, our new resident has just, we've already been to see the town hall. I think the library was the most natural place for us to come after that. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm just fine. It's such a joy to have people come and see me. You are welcome, new. I'm so pleased to meet you, our new resident. Please, if you have any needs for any reading materials, come see me right away. I know shelves are looking a little bare. We are getting more books in any day now. But I can get you just about anything you need. You just simply have to ask or send me a little message, and I will track down your book right away.
Nice to meet you. My name is Mark, but I think my friends call me Missing by now. But I have to give you this. Like, this looks like a very efficient library, since there are no books. The wait list is surely quite short, isn't it?
You would be surprised. We have some very, very, very popular titles. Moby Dick, a lot of people interested in. A lot of people.
Unwritten version, as I see.
Oh no, the books are just lent out. They're lent out, and also we're expecting some more in shortly.
Okay. A library with what? Books stored in boxes or some sort? Uh,
I have them in storage downstairs. We have very climate controlled. We want to make sure the books, stay fresh for all the residents.
yeah. I mean, we all have heard of the many. I don't know what is it that cause harm to books in like moderate temperature homes?
You would be surprised.
Yeah, that certainly is the most surprising part of this, indeed. Um, but I like your mustache very much. Where can I find the fine barber?
If you're looking for grooming, we do have a barbershop and stylist right here in the village, of course. In fact, Administrator, I'm confident that we've recently added a second one. That demand was so high.
Well, the best thing about our local barber, though some would rather unkindly say the worst thing, is how voluble they are. So, of course, visits take longer than originally anticipated. Um, so, yeah, we found it necessary. I mean, we recruited a second barber, um, and I think the community is very happy with both. Um, they give remarkable services. Um, what doesn't become as well coiffed as we without such local services.
I've long gone to our original barber, but as you can see, things are getting a little much. So I might try the new one.
Oh, that sounds lovely. And now, um, with all the grooming parts out of the way, um, I did um I do remember that there was one particular book that I always wanted to read. Do you, do you happen to have anything from that guy George Orwell? You might be familiar.
Oh, yes, Orwell, excellent author. I am making a note of that, and I will get back to you on that. It may be that they've been checked out, but I will need to go check in storage, maybe coming with the latest shipment. George Orwell, excellent. Good choice.
Yeah, and note taking is popular here in town. I heard that before. Yeah, that is interesting. Um, do barbers here take notes as well about your usual look and
I think opinion between our barbers is divided. One of them is very traditional, likes to know exactly what their patrons prefer without even asking, and the other one makes sure to ask every time. You never know when someone might change their mind about something. Even an important life decision like a mustache could be changed.
oh,
Um,
is that legal here? Changing your mind? I was worried
Absolutely.
that might be a gray zone.
Absolutely. If you wanted to um, talk to us at any stage about, say, why you resigned or reverse your decision about your resignation, we would happily accommodate you.
Okay, yeah, there is something I indeed wanted to reverse. How far has my complaint about being relocated gone yet? Any progress? Any status updates on that?
Well, obviously, I have been here with you, so no such complaint has been submitted or processed in the time we have been together.
That is very much unfortunate. After seeing this library, I thought you would be a bit more efficient. So maybe have like some kind of digital device that is processing in the background. You surely have a whole entourage of people just working out complaints, isn't it?
Well, why don't you? Well, there's not much to complain about in this community, as far as I'm
Oh,
concerned. But of course, maybe we will add this complaint to your other request. Um, I'm sure we will see how we can accommodate it.
That's very much appreciated. If that isn't like too much of a burden, since apparently you don't know how to handle such requests. I mean, you surely can't have practices if there's nothing to complain about, right? I indeed would volunteer helping to evaluate my requests and that speeding up the whole process.
Well, why don't we see about getting you a role in town hall? But let's continue with our tour, and we can talk about your gainful employment as a member of the community forthwith. So yeah, I think we can move on from the library.
A lot. Speaking unfiltered and annoyed at the same time.
So in the next stage, Dan, you're going to be a prisoner. I'm going to be the village and the residents, and Mario, you will be the administrator. Let me think about the location that we're going to end up on. Yeah, I think, and I think we had said previously that the administrator was keeping the best for last, or I can't remember down the exact details. I think
doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think there is a gardens with a hedge maze.
Love it.
Here. So this is, a walled garden, lots of greenery, a hedge maze in the center. So very lush, kind of decadent, Ancien regime kind of setup. And its overt purpose is to be a diversion or to divert. I'm not sure which turn of phrase is better. And I think the uncanny thing is I think that Grecian statuary is back here as a motif, but as you turn corners, you get an idea that these are turning exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we need a resident.
Groundskeeper?
The groundskeeper. Yeah, or maybe, let's go with the groundskeeper.
Or like maybe just like a gardener, someone who focuses on the flowers, or maybe like a bird, just a random resident who's a bird watcher.
Yeah, okay. Groundskeeper. So there's a youngish woman who is tending a flower bed. As you turn the corner, I put in as her demeanor, "Stop walking on the grass," which is difficult. If I believe the picture, it doesn't look like there's a lot of paving in this garden.
That's great.
Um,
What's her number?
her number is. Ooh, let me go with number 17 as a callback.
Nice.
Okay, there we go. And this, my valued new member of our lovely little community, this is my personal favorite and most precious part. This is our maze. This is our gardens. It represents so much of the virtues we believe in. It's about growth and patience and just the right amount of color. But it all requires a lot of craft, a lot of like wisdom and knowledge that is passed over generation. And this very particular maze has been established 300 years ago. So I would refer this to our very own history.
This is where the bodies are buried. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm afraid in this community, we have a graveyard for that, but we don't do the body burying. We find that to be not efficient enough. So we burn the bodies and then have this lovely little mausoleum where all the urns of the community will be stored once any deaths occur.
So people do die here. This is not just merely a fling, an escape, a temporary respite from the real world.
All of our residents so far have been delighted and view this as their permanent residence. And so we're very concerned about all parts of life and the most fitting accommodation of those.
Lovely green space like this, I would expect to see children playing, but strangely no children, only adults here. And
as is this tradition, mazes are the adults' playground. This is for your very own leisure time. For the children, we have a bit more appropriate and a little bit safer playgrounds that I'm afraid we have missed. But once we turn back to town hall, nearby we have the most standard swings
and I do not hear the peals of children's laughter. I do not hear shouts of joy. This is not a community. This is not a resort. What are we really doing here?
Give me another 2 minutes, then you will hear the school's bell that calls for breaks, and then you might hear children's laughter. Right now, they're all inside because they're extraordinarily precious members of our community, and they're eager to learn all they need for life.
Yes, clearly you've never met a child before. Okay. What?
Oh, I have 3 of my own.
Really? And they live here in this community as well?
Indeed, indeed.
Are you not afraid for the fear for their safety?
No, because according to our newspaper, this is our country's safest place to be.
Mm.
And they usually very good with their research.
It's been in the paper. Haven't you seen it? In at least 2 editions last week.
Oh, you speak. I thought you were just here to tend the flowers. Do you like living here?
I mean, I am here just to tend the flowers and cut back and prune. And pruning is a dirty job. No one wants to do it. No one wants to get their knees dirty, but you know. needs doing.
And do you like living here?
I mean, does anyone like living anywhere, really?
I guess that you have a fair point.
One place is as good as the next.
So,
according to our community's approval rating, we're at 100%. So there can't be any better place.
well, I look forward to skewing the results of that survey next time it comes out. Well, is this the only green space here in town, in the village?
This is our largest, but certainly not the only one, right? 17?
Yeah, your roof has a green space.
I see. And are there any other kind of recreational things to do, like beaches or mountains to climb?
Right now, we haven't been able to establish a mountain in our town, but we have a golf course and a tennis court. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds nice. And the golf course, is there never a problem with sort of balls being hit to the neighboring property or anything like that?
The golf course is very well fenced off to avoid any unnecessarily inconvenience for our citizens.
That was good. Well, I've been known to play a round of golf or two. Maybe I'll see you on the greens sometime.
Yeah, I'll see to that request. We have to make our citizens feel valued. We have a membership for the golf course. If you want to apply to that, I'm sure we can give you a special slot. What is your preferred time?
Is it very competitive to get into the golf course?
Right now, we're looking into expanding it because the request has been enormous. We're overwhelmed by how well the citizens of our town take to it.
Well, I'm a bit unusual. I like a late afternoon or evening tea time. So if such a slot is available, please sign me up.
Certainly, I will. I just take a note and we'll get back to you.
I lean over to 17 and in sort of a stage whisper, I point at one of the Greek statues and I say, "Careful, you're being watched."
I mean, this is when we have to drop the title and be seeing you at the at the
Nice.
statue, right? Okay. Awesome. I think that is a good place to wrap this point of the tour. I'm just looking at the time. We have like a quick ending to this section of the game to wrap up. Do you want to do that now and then take a break, or take a break now and then do that?
I would be okay with doing it now.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we put a cap on it?
Okay. So, home at last. The final scene of the tour ends with the prisoner being taken home. So the prisoner describes themselves as they return home. The village and the residents are assimilating the home, including putting up a number. And then the administrator is ending the tour. The only detail here is, to be added is, obviously those janitors or whoever, like leaving the prisoner's home after having made some enhancements, let's call them. So in this short scene, I'm the prisoner, Mari, you're the village and the resident, and Dan, you're the admin again.
And we're back to your humble abode As you can see, I mean, we've only scratched the surface. As you can see, we have everything you could possibly need under the sun right here in our lovely village. I believe our move-in team is finishing up some last-minute items in your space. But otherwise, I will leave you to it, and maybe I will see you at the community dinner tonight.
So one of the workers, with a number like 111 or something on his lapel, passes and maybe like does a double check, looking from the prisoner. Sorry, I'm the prisoner, not yeah. Sorry,
No.
I'm the prisoner.
Yep.
So I'm like looking at these people, um, in my home. What number do I see on my door?
Oh, I mean, we could go with 6,
I
but
could go with 6. Classic. Yeah.
does the administrator hand you your badge? Or is it like maybe it's already on a coat or something?
It's it's a lot hugely printed on the back of the coat.
Or maybe I suddenly notice that under the lapel of my jacket there is a number already, and it has been there all the time. I just didn't notice it
Ooh,
until now.
yeah.
Like, here you go.
Yeah, thanks. Really, this is number 6. I would have expected more, or less.
They're completely assigned randomly as you, except for mine, of course. We just find it's easier for people to get acclimated to this community if we just focus on a valueless identifier,
By
no
assigning a valued
preconceptions.
identifier.
Right.
Yeah, we even debated whether we would include the number 13, since some did not feel comfortable with it. And you can see that like the person saying that is actually wearing the 13.
But of course, we couldn't give any particular obeyance to such superstitions or cultural norms.
Of course not.
No, we definitely felt it was better to just simply use all the numbers.
Including 0?
That would be telling.
Well, we're going to have to work on that, aren't we?
So I think we're done with the tour. Um, number 13 is your team all set? Settling in number 6 here?
It's looking good.
Fantastic. Be seeing you.
Okay, so let's stop our tour there. Take a break. I have 26 pass, so we said 35 pass, so just shy of 10 minutes.
Yeah,
okay.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we are ready to jump into Many Happy Returns, where we will have the first of our 4 episodes. In episode 1, Dan, you're going to be playing the admin. So, as per the TV show, in every episode, there's a completely new administrator. There's not necessarily any reason given for the old administrator's disappearance, demise. It's left pretty much unsaid. In this episode, Mari, you're playing prisoner, and I am playing the residents and the village. For each episode, the administrator starts in segment A by introducing the administrator, and also picks a prompt. So you see underneath each episode there is a drop down with a prompt. So there's 4 prompts, and we basically go through each of them as desired. These are well, I won't say they're very specific, but they're very particular. Let's put it like that. So Dan, why don't you, we're putting you on the spot again. So why don't you introduce your administrator and then tell us what the prompt is for this episode.
Can I ask something real quick? So being the prisoner, what is the structure like? Would I be surprised that there is a new administrator, or is that just something?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can play it how you like it.
Okay.
I think it is. I think probably the most surprising thing is how naturally everyone else in the village takes it. They certainly don't bring it up, unless until things go weird enough that they do. Is this a point that the prisoner wants to investigate, to pull apart? Sure. As the prisoner, you can kind of decide to start hacking at any part of the village or this community that kind of requires attention. Right? Everything is strange and uncanny, really, if you look at it long enough. So yeah, you can play it however you like it.
Okay.
Remember that in terms of the things you want to do, the goals of all of us when we're playing the prisoner, it's they're back on the control panel section. So it's investigate the residents to learn who are the jailers and who are the prisoners, undermine the administrator by keeping the reasons for your resignation private, find a way of getting into the presence of control with an aim to confront it, and escape the village. So yeah, I think digging at the fact that there's a new administrator, a new number 2 every episode is a fair thing to target in advance of those goals.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that in the TV show, at least once he said what happened to the previous number 2. Like there's definitely a line of questioning, and they always introduce themselves as the new number 2. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tom Hiddleston type, very well dressed, very polished, but whereas the previous one was kind of, I think of as sophisticated. I wonder if he is sort of a little bit more rough around the edges in terms of his manner of speaking. He's definitely more unattached and unemotional, and comes across as kind of ruthless. No sense of humor whatsoever, and not welcoming, not accommodating, not any of those things. So sort of a true authoritarian. And I'm going to choose an episode prompt. I am open to suggestions, but I've chosen the surreal or unusual methods of the village are employed in order to break the prisoner. So I think the village's first strategy here is just to simply try and overwhelm the prisoner and try and break them.
Oh, then the community dinner we mentioned earlier would be a good place to start, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Donna, is there anything else that we need to sort of get going? How's this?
No, I think that is where we start. So the plot, the episode prompt you've just selected is the drive behind the whole episode, but isn't fully fleshed out at this point. It's just a short phrase or sentence to help guide play. All players are to introduce story elements and then push the prisoner into having to take actions in compliance, defiance, or prompt an attempt to escape. Um, so yeah.
So I wonder if we're seeing a scene. I'm sort of picturing like an outdoor cafe type place, and lots of the residents are already there eating, perhaps maybe as the prisoners number 6 is arriving. Number 2 has gotten up from his own table and is walking around and greeting the other residents. He's not very good at this. It's sort of difficult for him to kind of make small talk and such, but everyone is overly friendly towards him. And so it's not that he's uncomfortable. It's just he's too unemotional to really care one way or the other. But he's going from table to table in this outdoor cafe, and there are servers and things like that all around.
So I think so this is set in like a country cafe / restaurant. Maybe all the tables are in this kind of courtyard down the side and behind this cafe, and the manager of the cafe brushes number 2 aside and sits him down in the corner, and kind of takes over a little bit. I'll just get you your coffee there, number 2. You just take it easy. Her number is number 77. That is okay. She runs the cafe.
Good choice.
Sarcastic lady, who knew? Number 6, come on inside. Come on in. We'll sit you down. What would you like to drink? I can't promise anything too strong, but
unfortunately, you specified it. I guess I started with a whiskey.
And yeah, she comes back in a very quick moment, and has your whiskey exactly as you like it. Whether it's no ice, a pitcher of water on the side, the right kind of whiskey from the right kind of place in Scotland, or whatever it is. Just brings it over on a tray and sets it down and says, "There you go. Just holler if you need a top up."
And I'll just chunk it down and say yes, please, while putting the empty glass into her hands again.
I see we're going to get on just fine.
Well,
back now.
That is excellent service. How long did it take you to memorize my very habits?
Well, I'm a hostess. I like to know what my patrons like and make sure that they get it. If you talk to other people, they'll say we have complete files, but it's just customer service.
Well, in that case, you probably also know that I would like to get a cab for some dinner out of town, preferably.
Well, the cab service here is local only, but they will take you as far as they can go.
Okay, and there is no, I don't know, train station, Greyhound station, anything that leaves this place?
Not really my purview, dear. If you go to the library, I think they have complete maps of the area.
That service is pretty slow there. I didn't get my books yet. But why is it that you folks have no interest in the outside world?
Are we sitting at the same table, or did you choose a different?
I'm still standing at the entrance, and you probably like somewhere you. I don't
Yeah.
think that I've been particularly quiet, so you could hear it.
I think the administrator can be as close as you want.
Okay. I say hostess, calling her over to me.
Number 2, what can I get you? Your usual?
Please find a table for number 6.
Anything you have in mind?
I I'm tired of hearing the interrogation. Please find him a table.
Right. And she kind of nods. Maybe showing her discomfort with the situation. Um, well, number 6. Let's give you somewhere in the shade, away from prying eyes. We wouldn't like anyone to overhear your private conversations.
Is there such a thing as privacy? I think you like the glass and the transparency of each and every one.
Well, I didn't say you would have a private conversations. I said if you had one, it would be private in this location.
Okay. Very well then. And I'd like to go with, well, what would you, what is a house special?
You mean on top of whiskey?
I mean, I don't want to pass out drunk just yet.
I think it's all non-alcoholic. You know what I mean? So I think even though it's a whiskey, it's a non-alcoholic whiskey.
Oh, okay.
Which is part of the surreal or unusual methods.
That is a good call. Oh, no, then I say, yeah, something stronger, something that actually hits some nerves.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. Something from our Scandinavian neighbors. Something that'll strip paint from something.
I think as the hostess disappears, there's sort of the din of people eating and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I, the administrator, kind of scrape back my chair from my meal like I'm done. And I stand up and everything stops. Everyone just freezes in place. And I turn on my heel and I walk towards your table, prisoner. And I say, number 6. And I say, the veal is excellent. And then I just leave the cafe. And only when I've gone sort of off screen, turned a corner, everyone sort of resumes their activity.
Okay, Yeah, sorry,
Do you
go
think we've
ahead.
hit the end of segment A? Do we think we're pushing the prisoner into compliance, defiance, or I don't think escape is possible yet.
Yeah.
But what way do you think the prisoner is inclined at this point?
I think the whole thing with wanting alcohol is to be able to act out just under the disguise of being drunk. And I don't think I necessarily figured out yet that there is no alcohol in it. So I'll definitely start acting drunk, and I probably go through people's stuff to see if there's like anything with an actual personality or an outside connection. Just like checking their codes or something like that, or getting close and up personal, asking inappropriate questions, stuff like that.
Okay, so maybe we'll make that part B. Do we think?
Mm-hmm.
And for the end of part A, um, I mean, are you playing along with this whole thing, or do you think when you say you're kind of pushing the limits, despite the lack of alcohol, you think you're being defiant against the kind of prim and proper way that the administrator expects things to go?
Definitely, because all the others can see through it, right? Because they
Mhm.
know there's no alcohol.
Yeah, yeah. When the prisoner makes an act of defiance, disobedience, or resistance against the forces set against them, um, you increase independence by 1. So I'll check that box. The group narrates the prisoner being thwarted, broken, or put in their place in some way. And we also increase control by 1. So how do we think that the prisoner is being thwarted by the fact that like no one else is really getting that same kind of loss of control or gregariousness that a night out like this would usually uh, lead to?
Everyone's very even keel. I'm also picturing maybe the prisoners ordered a bunch of different kinds of alcohol just to try, like, does any of this? I've tried whiskey, I've tried, all vodka, I've tried all these different, I've ordered all these different things, and none of them are getting me drunk.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. And I just checked, but we don't have any safety tools with alcohol. So I was thinking maybe like at some point, um, the prisoner kind of like not very explicit, but forcefully gets removed and treated as being a drunk that needs to go home and sleep, right? So the prisoner has been escorted, and then we see the aftermath the next morning. Is that what we're going for, or like within the scene, seeing the trouble?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't mind like how extended we have this episode. I think that could be. I'm
Okay.
happy with either option.
So after finding myself in a bed, and I probably got like some medication makes me sleep or something, or calm down. Um, and the next morning, I find myself getting up rather late, and the whole town is busy already. And then I just like walk around because there was nobody there to pick me up, but I got these like weird looks from all the other people. And then I walk by the town hall, and like on a huge display, there is just like some very specific phrases uh, I I said last night, and especially like some stuff that I said, which I thought was somewhat private, that I said to number 77, right in the beginning. So there's like everything I ordered and stuff like that publicly displayed. Um, like what the fuck? And I think I just, since it's a display, I probably just gonna take up some dirt and smear it a little bit when I feel there's nobody around seeing me.
Yeah, and I think the maintenance man that you saw at your house the first day, number 13, you know, almost immediately his little cart comes around the corner, and it's not like speeding or anything. It looked completely natural, and he just stops right next to you, says, "Oh, good morning, number 16," and he has like a window cleaning kit, and sprays on it, and shame about this vandalism. Um, uh, you know, I blame the kids. They don't spend long enough in school. Wasn't
Oh,
wasn't like this in our day, I tell you.
sure. I'm sure there's somebody not quite as satisfied as the other as we other citizens about the whole situation in town, right?
Oh, I tell you that. I think it would be a lot better if Control knew exactly what we were thinking at all times, and then we would know who the troublemakers were.
Yeah, that is certainly something you could consider. Uh, but on the other note, I think Control got something wrong with my favorite color. Do you happen to have some black paint?
Oh, for what though?
I thought about like just renovating the dining room. I don't like the white. That doesn't go well with the wood panel there.
Well, there's no accounting for taste. That's what my old man used to say. Yeah, I mean, you can, if you go to town hall and ask for form 122B, you can change your favorite color. It's a
I
cinch.
knew
And
it.
then I'll come over. There's a supplementary form to apply your favorite color to individual furnishings or walls, and they'll be done in a jiffy.
Oh, thank you so much. That is very helpful. Uh,
I
Glad
think
to
we
be of
get
service.
I
Glad to
think
be
we
of
get a
service.
shot of number two in number two's office, watching a monitor, going, he's got a different favorite color.
and I think the moment when what was it, number 16 walks away attending other cleaning duties, I just take a rock and smash the monitor while number 2 is watching.
Okay. Um, does this seem like a act of defiance?
Indeed.
Okay. Um, so we increase independence again by 1. We increase control by 1. And we also narrate the prisoner being thwarted, broken, or put in their place in some way.
How do we increase surveillance?
So surveillance increases whenever
when you try to escape, right? I didn't see it anywhere else.
Yeah, so when
I've
you
missed
try
it.
to escape, you increase surveillance by 1.
Mhm.
And obviously, after the second escape attempt, you will be reducing independence by the current surveillance score. So independence and surveillance go up and down, but control only ratchets up.
Okay.
I think number 2 approaches number 6 and says, "Have you seen today's newspaper?" and hands him a paper that the headline in big letters is something like number 6, utterly ashamed. And it has sort of photos of number 6 acting even more drunk and disorderly than he actually did. Like they somehow sort of created as we're talking, residents are kind of making their way around us and maybe looking upon you with some fearfulness. And I say, you have not made a good first impression. If you expect to get along well with your comrades in this village, community members in this village, you will do well to abide by the rules. You have read up on our local rules, regulations, and ordinances, have you not?
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't have time. The actual number 2 kept me occupied the whole day yesterday.
I am number 2.
That can't be true. Possibly, we had a number 2 yesterday, so I'm probably gonna call you number 2.5 or something.
As far as you are concerned, from now on, I am number 2.
That's just like logically inconsistent. How can something like that happen in this town?
Perhaps if you kept your wits about you and contained your outbursts, it would make more sense.
Oh, so there is a handbook about what makes sense.
Yes, please return to the library and get your copy of the rules and regulations of the village. And I expect full compliance from now on.
Don't you think that's a little bit much to ask without giving anything in return?
In return, you have lodging, you have your meals, you have entertainment, you have your freedom. It's a small price to pay.
And 15 unattended cases of changes and wishes for traveling and vacations and such like that.
May I remind you that you are not the only resident in this village. We have a long, long queue of requests, and we do our best to accommodate everyone.
How can I, again, the actual number 2, I already offered my help for that. I could work on my own cases and just approve them.
If you would like to apply for a job, please come to town hall and apply.
I think this is the first time I sigh and say, yeah, whatever.
Whatever indeed. Be seeing you. And he turns on his heel and walks away.
Okay. So I think we can proceed to segment C. Where we describe the plot for this episode reaching fever pitch or breaking down. The prisoner should narrate either their increasing surety or their undoing. The rest of us should narrate actions, locations, and people that become increasingly wild or desperate. There should be ambiguity about whether the forces arrayed against the prisoner are helping or hindering their own goals. And then we'll look to a final act of compliance, escape, which is now possible, or defiance. What do you think, Mario? How quickly after this intervention by the administrator do we see the prisoner next?
I just assume that like most of the work is digitalized, since we said like the public halls got like screens and stuff like that. And of course, like there is a newspaper that is an actual print product, but like all the administrative part is digital. So I think I'd like to have a scene where the prisoner breaks into a town hall and tries to work on their files, because that feels like something we set up.
So do you think we should like start there, or do you think that needs to be the kind of climax of the segment?
I think that might be a good start, because that is a good point to escalate it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're. And do you think like the middle of the night or something is when?
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely dark, and we only see a flashlight inside the town hall, and then we zoom in and.
Yeah, and there's like some emergency lighting that'll show you which way to turn and whatever else. But I don't even think there's a security guard. You have Jimmy the lock and got in, and there is nothing kind of to stop you. No one rather to stop you investigating.
I think you're even surprised nothing is locked.
Yeah.
Everything is everything that you see, are and aware of and have access and can kind of go to is completely unlocked.
Yeah, that is very eerie.
So.
I like it.
I mean, I wonder if you are looking for somewhere to start in the files, and you open one and maybe it's a report on your current break-in.
Wow.
At 1:13 a.m. Number 6 broke into the town hall to look at his records.
That is very cool. Yeah, so instead of like there's like I could try to access files where obviously like don't have shouldn't have access to. So everything that is popping up all the time, it's just like super annoying pop-up advertising where you can't click it away fast enough as it pops up. And whenever I try to do something on a computer, that same file pops up, and another attempt of doing something illegal is locked onto it. Oh yeah. um, then I think I search around if there's like something I probably could use as a fingerprint or something to bypass security measures and actually get access on an employee, like administration level kind of thing. I just don't think that is something I can do on the go. So how long is Two just watching this?
Oh yeah, we see Two in a remote office, and he's just standing there observing. And there was this character in The Prisoner, the TV show, called The Butler, who didn't have a number, and he was in every episode, and he didn't say anything. He just was always present. And I wonder if the hostess is sort of that version, and so she is also standing there with number 2, and we're watching you on a monitor as you are rummaging around in these files.
Oh, and then I think while that is happening, there needs to be like some ridiculous dumb password that is just.
It'll be something like enter your identification number to gain access, and if you put in 2, you maybe you get a view of number 2's office, of him looking at you.
Yeah, and then I I probably stare him down and just like not aware that there is like an actual like communication going on. I'm just like, What the fuck are you looking at, dumbass?
I guess we can hear each other. Let's
Yeah,
see.
that's the point.
I think I say something weird like, "You should have tried the veal at the cafe," and I cut off the communication so the screen goes dark.
Oh, like I'm logged out properly.
Yeah, well, you can't see me anymore, at least.
And
And I think anytime you try and look at other people's files, everything is either blank or like completely innocuous, like what they ordered at lunch that day, that kind of thing.
Um, so I mean, so I know it's called escape, but the prompt for escape is when the prisoner attempts to overcome an obstacle, best their opposition, or manages to escape, take these steps. So I wonder if this is kind of almost like the attempt to take control of the situation, kind of triggers that.
it does
Um,
feel like, yeah.
yeah, and then the administrator, like, you know, taking real control back over and like shutting you out of everything you were before you tried to spy on him, is bringing you back to the village. I think that's kind of a
Do we have a security system like Rover from the TV show?
that is certainly something that is baked in. So
Oh,
there is I think in the narrative elements. Sorry, we actually forgot this. When we start an episode, the prisoner like selects one of these
oh, nice.
items that will occur, and one of them, though we can always go back up the list. And one of these is disturbing, surreal, or fantastical technology is turned against the prisoner. But I think we may have already done the peculiar recurrent character as the
we're,
hostess, right?
we're hitting all the tropes.
We're hitting them all. So yeah, maybe that's.
Good
I
point.
mean, that makes sense to me at least. Um, so yeah, we can come back and bring the rover back in.
I'm just wondering, sort of, I'm just wondering what might bring. I'm looking at number 2 under escape. The group narrates the events that ultimately bring the prisoner back to the village. I mean, I wonder if he's knocked out again, or if he's overcome by some kind of security system.
Yeah. Maybe there's like some kind of flashing image on screen, something like a QR code.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
nice. Yes, that's good.
Yeah, don't trust those QR codes, right?
No.
Okay, so we lower independence by the current surveillance score, which is 0. We've narrated the events, and then we increase surveillance by 1. So surveillance is now 1, independence 2, and control 2. Okay, so that sounds like our an end of our episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So can we take a quick break and then we'll come back for episode 2?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Cool. So 5 minutes maybe. Okay, so we are hitting episode 2. So I'm the administrator, so I have all of these interesting choices to make now. So I'm going to introduce the administrator and choose a prompt. Okay. We have the administrator, the new number 2, a flamboyantly dressed, eager to please but taking no shit. And my episode prompt is, I think the residents aid in an attempt to win over the prisoner using persuasion, cajoling, and/or bribery. Mari, does that sound okay for you? Because you would be playing the residents.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, I guess maybe we see I think we need to like fictionally introduce the new administrator for the prisoner early, unless I know last time we had this, oh, how can you be the new administrator moment. So maybe there's like an announcement from town hall on video to all of the residents' homes. And there's some kind of event being announced. Mario, do you have an idea for what this event could be that the village is holding?
The opening of the golf course's expansion.
Ah, okay. An extra 9 holes, for for those serious players.
Something that also shows that there's just like way too much money behind all of this. Yeah.
Donna, how do we add one of these narrative elements? Do I check one of these off as the prisoner?
Oh, yeah. So as the prisoner, for the narrative elements, yeah. So we're now in episode 2. And so you just, to the right of the text, you can just check a box to show that it has been. Let's do the peculiar recurrent character for episode 1. I think that was where we kind of ended up. So you picked the private thoughts of the prisoner are known by all residents, which I guess fits in a little bit to what number 13 said in the last episode, right? Wouldn't it be great if?
Right.
Awesome. Okay. So, yeah, Mario, why don't you kind of set the scene for this? Maybe there's like a match play tournament to celebrate the opening of the golf course or something like that.
I think this event is like especially tailored towards the prisoner, and therefore the opening is a children's competition, and the children are supposed to go first. If we want children to be in a thing, because so far we never saw them, and they were only hinted at. So
yeah, so I know it came up, and I guess we could play it 2 ways. Either that just could be a fabrication to make it seem like a real village, or there could be children here. But I think the issue maybe that we have is that a lot of people here are here against their will, right? So if their children are here, then their children are also hostages, which I think probably
okay. No, then let's skip this.
Hits a safety line for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe it's a fabrication.
Yeah. No. Good that we check in on that. Okay. Then I think it's like, oh yeah. So I want to give the number 2 an opportunity to be introduced here, and I think we all go over to the part where the new golf course starts, and there's like this velvety red like band, just like kind of like to be cut with a golden scissor or something like that, like the grand opening thing. And then I think the architect number 5 comes over and hands okay, so I just take this from you. If you stop me if you don't want to have it done that way. I think the number 5 hands over a golden how do you call them? Clubs? What are
Clubs.
the
Clubs? Yeah, golf
Yeah.
clubs.
A golden club, and number 2 looks around and hands it over to the prisoner to make the first.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a big show of this, and I think maybe the residents are expecting number 2 as senior member of the club to take the first strike, but they shush the crowd, and in honor of our latest and greatest resident of our wonderful community, I would love to break with tradition just this once and give the honor of the first strike to number 6.
Number 6, I say it would be my great honor. I've been here only a few days and a couple weeks, and I'm already impressed with just the array of amenities of this lovely village. And he takes the club. I think there's this moment where you see kind of this gleam in his eye, but he just takes a breath and he takes a swing at the golf ball, and he's actually a pretty good golfer, and gets it onto the green.
And I think the administrator, claps, and as you kind of take the applause from the crowd, they lean in and say, "So you must have spent a lot of time golfing to become this proficient. So what we all dream of, right? Retiring to the country or to the country club. What prompted that career change?"
You know how it is. When it's time, but we're not here to talk about me. Let's play a few rounds of golf. I would love to see, I have not had a chance to play with everyone. Maybe there's some good golfers. It'd be nice to find some folks that I can partner with.
Well, we'll see if we can team you up, but you do yourself a disservice where you are the guest of honor. We are all focused singularly on you and your decisions, choices.
That seems that's I'm flattered, but surely there are hundreds of residents here. All of us have our interesting stories to tell. Perhaps we can reconvene tonight over some non-alcoholic beer and further our conversation. But I would love to try out some of these I don't know anything about golf holes on this golf course.
Yeah.
I think number 5 might step in at this point and says, and like just grabs your arm and says, "Oh no, you really have to show me how to do that. You see, I'm ranking rather low, and I would love to improve. I mean, after all, it's like you really like if you put in effort, it really pays off. It's like it's such a good metaphor for how communities are supposed to be built. It's not just about luck. It's actually skill and compassion. So please show me."
Yes, of course. Here, please take the club. This is a one iron and a wood. I don't know. And just line yourself up. And best thing to do is keep your eye on the flag, on that green, and take a breath, and then swing.
And she does, and it comes so naturally that you can tell that she spent way too much time as well practicing it. But then in the last moment, she bends her knee a little bit too much, and she hits it like completely wrong, and the ball just like rolls off only a few meters. Says, "Oh no, I'm just it seems like I'm too clumsy for this. No, please show me again. You're such a skilled golfer."
Well, your ball is in the rough, so I think we should let the next person go. And it's clear that maybe at one point you played golf. Did you play golf much before you got here to the resort?
Oh no, I never. I only when I arrived, I gave it a couple of tries. I mean, it's a social event, and I love this kind of gatherings.
Maybe we should let our illustrious number two have play through.
Wonderful idea.
So what do you think? Do you think sounds to me like the prisoner is really playing nice, right?
I am leaning into compliance.
Okay.
Yes.
So in that case, we increase control by 1, we increase independence by 1, and we lower surveillance by 1. So I'll do that. Okay. So yeah, I think we can jump ahead to segment B. When do you think we want to have this? Is this like, at the 18th hole or in the clubhouse later, or what do you think?
I like the idea of maybe there's I don't know, are we all gonna play like a round of golf or
I
yeah,
mean,
I
it
guess
all
we
circles around you. So whatever you think is most interesting.
yeah. I think we have gathered at the hedge maze.
Ooh.
And we are having now a little sort of closing reception at the hedge maze.
Champagne, alcohol-free champagne off the show.
Right. And I wonder if I've snagged like a set of matches or something like that I've got on my person. So I'm just sitting, again, sort of being very cordial, overly friendly, very warm, chatting everyone up as we sit around. So I'm sort of picturing picnic blankets or like lawn chairs, that kind of thing, around the hedge maze park.
This idea just occurred to me when you were thinking of whether you had the matches. Do you think maybe it is the prisoner's birthday today? So there's a cake and candles and matches to light them, and this is really why he's
yes,
the
please.
guest of honor. Right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And obviously you didn't tell anyone, but extensive files and all that.
Well, and my birthday, let's say the prisoner's birthday is like in January in the Northern Hemisphere or something. And so it's weird that we're having like such like nice enough weather that we can go play golf.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh, but there was this big announcement in the newspaper this morning about your birthday. But nobody wants like to rush you into something and just waits until you announce something so they can start singing or whatnot. Or maybe it's like a surprise party planned later on. Oh yeah, that is such a
Yeah, so maybe there's like this champagne reception, but then the administrator comes out with this giant birthday, well, rolling or maybe holding a part of it with the staff. Um, this giant birthday cake for number six, and the inscription on top is many happy returns number six. There's
Right.
six candles.
Right. And I think I lean over to blow out the candles. As I'm doing so, I kind of pocket some of the matches, and I blow out the candles, and I say, "While you cut the cake, number 77, I'm just going to go for a little stroll through the maze, just to clear my head. Yeah, as you know, another year makes a man think." And I begin to walk through the hedge maze. I know you all are trying to use persuasion, cajoling, and bribery. So is there anyone kind of coming along with me to try and further encourage me to confess anything?
Definitely number 72.
Is that the librarian?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
I,
guy's
I,
creepy.
I see you've been to the barbershop. You have to tell me which one.
You have to guess. Which one do you think I went to based on the cut? Based on the gut, which one do you think I went to?
I think that was 48, the new guy.
Yes, it was the new guy.
I thought there's some fire in you. Like you really strive for new inventions there's this fire that will bring our little society to a new step of trust. And yeah, I see why they chose you to be part of our little society.
As he's talking and getting more enthusiastic, I push him into one corner of the maze where there's sort of a T, kind of a T junction. I kind of run the other way, away from him. And I'm looking for some place where I can start a fire.
Do you think this is defiance?
I was going for
is this
defiance.
Okay.
We're in segment B, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't actually have to do any one of those, or do I?
No, you. There's no set order. You could escape in all the three segments in an episode.
Oh, okay.
If you really
But
want
we try and hit we hit something at the end of every segment.
Yeah, yeah.
I see. Yeah, I'm going to go for defiance.
Okay. So with that, you increase independence by 1. We narrate you being thwarted, broken, or put in your place in some way, and we increase control again by 1. So everything is ratcheting up on this green segment. And I guess there's a big change in how the prisoner is seen by the administrator.
I am starting fires.
You're starting fires.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do we think I think first of all, no matter how far away from a resident you get, you end up, setting fire in a location, and maybe slowly over time you get a sense of this, the statue like turning towards you, right?
Right. And maybe like every time I try and look down a new place in the hedge maze, there's a resident there.
Yeah.
Like I'm like constantly pushing through the maze. Every time I turn, there's a resident.
And what do you think? Maybe maybe bizarrely the statue that is overseeing you has like a, instead of like spouting water, it's spouting this like industrial level fire retardant foam.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it got one of those vases where that could be like part of a fountain, but now it sprays. Yeah, wow, that is such a cool imagery. I love it.
And it's, you know, I think it just overwhelms you as well, right? It just like kind of knocks you for six.
Yep.
But you know, it's not the end of the episode, so you're still up and kicking, I think.
So yeah, maybe we can see like just as a dramatic shot, we see how all the people you ran past are gathering like kind of like above you, and like we don't really see what happened. It's just like very eerie or like very strange, and potentially like there's the potential of like a lot of violence in that picture, and then we cut right.
I had this, as you were talking about that, I had this idea to build on that, which is sort of, I'm on the ground. I love the idea of all the residents are now standing over me. I'm kind of covered in this foam. And from one of the lower part of the hedge maze, I hear a voice say, "Follow me." And there's an opening in the hedge maze, and that allows me to kind of crawl through and escape. And we never figure out who the voice is, but I'm now out of the hedge maze, and I wonder if it sort of leads down to like a river walk, like a path along a river. The hedge maze is sort of adjacent to a river, so now I've sort of exited this, and I can just, I'm still in the village, obviously, but I'm making my way along here. Unless either of you had different ideas to sort of how I got out of this scene.
That sounds cool. And I think maybe, as if this is expected, you know, the administrator goes out over the town announcement and says, "We have now proceeded to the Fox and Hound, part of the day's festivities. As expected, number 6 is your quarry. Please bring him home safe and sound.
That's great.
Champagne and cake back at his residence."
Nice. That's great. That's so good.
And we see like a futuristic iPad with the sort of like a bingo thing going on, where like we see just a finger checking off ours amongst all the other things.
I feel like we're also seeing in the administrator's office like a radar sort of, you know, with number 6 kind of moving through, and then all the other residents sort of converging on him.
But I like, do you think the mood of the residents is serious, or is it like play acting? What do you think, Mario?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so too, because it's everything evolves around psychological violence, right? Just being making a situation feeling threatened, that like actual violence would harm the whole endeavor of this also happy society they're trying to build.
There are people, residents, who are following me, like trying to converge on me, trying to come me down. But there's also residents who are just sitting there, not really participating. So as I'm picturing myself walking along this river walk, there's benches, maybe people are just sitting on the bench, and now I'm a little bit broken. So I'm asking, was it you who helped me escape? Like things like that, like trying to figure out whose voice that was that drew me out of the hedge maze, while I'm also seeing in the distance like residents kind of coming towards me.
Oh yeah, and there's like just this trail of people following, or like people trailing you, and especially the groundskeeper we saw earlier.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I'm so disappointed, Six. I told you not to touch the grass. It will take hours and weeks to hours to restore and weeks to grow it back.
Apparently, in this place, you have all the time in the world.
Oh no, you don't.
At this moment, there's a gondola on the river, on the little stream, and I leap into the gondola and I just kind of paddle like crazy, trying to take me to the end of this stream and escape. So I'm doing the escape.
Okay, awesome.
If it's okay for us to kind of wrap that scene
Yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
there.
Absolutely.
So the surveillance score is 0, so we don't decrease your independence, though we do increase surveillance back up by 1. And we narrate how events ultimately bring the prisoner back to the village. I have something a little bit bizarre, but I wonder if anyone has something kind of more mundane in mind for this narration.
I just thought there's tech that makes the river flow the other way. So you just as fast as you paddle, you're not stronger than the current, and you'll end up back where you just jumped in.
Yeah, and that works for me. Is it like initially you're going downstream, but then the current just changes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and brings you back.
What did you have in mind? Donna, what did you have? I like that. What did you have in mind, Donna?
I had something a little bit more surreal, that you're going downhill through the steep kind of rapids, and then it just comes back impossibly to the start. It's like
it's a
merry-go-round.
Mobius strip. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of the switch in the stream. Maybe we
Yes.
see the administrator, bark out an order to someone in town hall to let's reverse the flow.
Yeah, reverse the current. Yes. And then he's just standing there on the dock waiting for me. As
and he throws the rope to you and docks you and helps you out with a plate of cake and a flute of champagne.
That was so good.
Okay, wow. So let's close there. We'll stop the recording, do a quick debrief, and be home in time for team medals.